Hey guys, it's me Brandon again, coming at you for another Storytime Thursday. I know it's late, but it's still technically Thursday, at least where I live. I wanted to show you something. I know I post this on Facebook, and I don't post a whole lot of my music stuff on Facebook. But not sure how much you can see because I have the phone turned away from me. But got some music equipment going on up in here. Let's see. There's the monitor, mixer. Yeah, it's really hard to see everything. Well, at least for me to see everything. But I got a monitor, mixer, an 8-track, all from my mom. And then I got my fancy schmancy, really expensive guitar pedal down there. So I've been recording on the 8-track past couple of days. It's been lots and lots of fun. My bed is comfy. Okay, well, I gotta make this quick, especially because it's late. We have today a story called SKIA. Now I looked this up. SKIA actually means shadow in Greek, and that ties into everything. So yeah, 3 pages. It's all typed in fancy. Fancy schmancy. So let's go for it. Let me tell you about a story. The story of a cursed demigod named SKIA. A farmer told his young son on a bright summer day. They sat on the shady side of an overturned wooden cart on the road to Corinth. Their cart had broken down earlier in the day, and the farmer wanted a way to pass the time. "What's a SKIA, Daddy?" the youngster asked. "I shall tell you. It started long ago, when the Lord of the Sky and King of the Gods, Zeus, came down to earth and loved a woman. We cannot say her name. Do you know why?" "No, why can't we say her name, Daddy?" the young one asked, a little confused. "Because Zeus forbade it, as part of SKIA's punishment. We cannot say SKIA's real name either. His name was stripped away from him, and he was given the title SKIA, a title that now has dark shame. When SKIA was born, he was almost immediately crowned a demigod of beauty. The young boy grew and grew, and as he grew, people told him how handsome he was. All his life, he was told how beautiful and handsome he was, and one day, it really got to his head. He sat down with some of his friends and said, "I would wager that I am more beautiful than both Zeus and Aphrodite." That was not good for him. The almighty and all-hearing Zeus heard what he said and decided to punish him. Zeus descended to the earth and found SKIA, still with his friends. He came to SKIA, seething with rage, and roared, "How dare you! You think yourself above the gods?" "Now, son, do you know what he did?" "What, Daddy?" the small one asked. He turned SKIA into a scarecrow and placed him in the middle of a field. It was just him, no one else. Zeus also cursed the land around where he was so that it will never rain and no food will ever grow. SKIA cried out for anything, but nothing came. He was just hung up there on a wooden pole. His motionless arms hung on the horizontal pole, and his misery was displayed in his hanging head. Of course, he had human hunger and thirst, but he was made of straw. So if he even got his hands on some, it would do him no good. Every day at the rising of the sun, he would scream till his voice gave way, and at sunset he would cry until he couldn't cry any more. But then he got an idea. His head rose for the first time in ages. With hours of work and an infinite supply of willpower, he fell from his prison on the pole. He fell to the ground and looked frantically around until he found what he was looking for. He saw it. Straw. He crawled towards it, pulling against the shackle that bound his leg. What? To the pole. Sorry, guys. He reached some and pulled it back to the little shade that the pole gave. And he spat the little spit that he could to keep it together. Then he did what he had never done before. He reached deep within himself and pulled some of his immortality. He was able to move the energy through himself until it reached his mouth. Then he exhaled it into the small being. The scarecrow child that he had created came to life. "Go, my child, I have created you from straw and earth. Fetch me more straw so as to make more of thee. Go, my child, go." And he did. For 3 days the small child came and went, bearing straw every time he came and promising more when he went. Then finally, he had enough. SKIA crafted and created humanoid shapes and reached deep within him to breathe out his power of life. When he did, the women of straw awoke, and their first thoughts were the beauty of this strange creature of straw. Their lives revolved around SKIA. They brought him food, water, and more straw in the day so that he could... Totally lost my spot. Sorry, guys. But, wow, this is bad. But when night came, SKIA made another life-changing mistake. He asked the woman of straw he was with a question. He said, "I believe that I am more beautiful than any other mortal or god. Do you agree?" Zeus heard once again and descended to the earth. As it shook from his power, he walked up to SKIA's lover and beat her over the head until she had died. Then he used his mighty thunderbolt as his killing tool until each and every one of SKIA's creatures fell motionless. Then Zeus came back to SKIA and screamed at the top of his godly lungs, "How dare you! The second chance I have given you. Your punishment will now be of earthly pain, not of pain of loneliness. Your earthly body shall be destroyed to you. It shall be restored to you, and you shall be destroyed every day." "But why, Daddy?" the small child asked. "Why would Zeus hurt people like that?" "It's because Zeus is a very jealous god, and he will punish those that think they are above him." They both sat in silence, taking it in. The farmer stood up and walked all the way around the cart so as to make sure that no danger was evident, and that he wouldn't miss anyone who might bring help. After seeing nothing, he came back to his son, still sitting in the shade, and resumed the story. So Zeus ordered Hephaestus, I can't say his name, I'm sorry guys, don't yell at me, Hephaestus to make unbreakable chains. And he did. Zeus took those chains and with them chained SKIA to the side of a cliff, where the tide rises and falls. When the tide rises, a ferocious sea monster will come, tear him away from his limbs, and eat him. Then as the tide goes down, his body will grow out of his limbs, and he will sit there waiting for the next tide to come, helpless to stop what will happen. After an extra gruesome killing of this demigod, SKIA felt defiant, and he didn't care about consequences. He just wanted to rebel. "I don't care what the gods think," he screamed out towards the ocean. "The only reason I'm here is because they are ashamed that a half-breed is better looking than all of the gods combined." Zeus descended back to the earth, with a calm that was alarming. "My son," he said, "you have committed the crime of hubris 3 times. I only have one punishment left, and it is possibly the worst. From now until the end of time and beyond, you are hereby banished to the Shadow Realm, where you will forever report crimes of hubris to me. But you will not see, you will not talk, you are only a slave of the shadow. Your name and your mother's name will never be spoken again, and you are given the dishonorable title of SKIA." At this, SKIA trembled. "Please, Zeus, not the Shadow Realm, anything but that. Please." But to this Zeus replied, "I am sorry, my son, but what is done is done." Fair warning, it's a little graphic, so, and, creepy, so if you don't like that kind of stuff, stop watching this right now, okay? Carrying on. Then SKIA screamed as loud as he could, and Zeus grabbed SKIA by his head, pulled and ripped the unbreakable chains out of the cliff, breaking SKIA's neck. Zeus turned SKIA around and stuck his other hand into the back of SKIA's chest. He grabbed SKIA's heart and pushed it all the way through his chest. His blood spilled over Zeus's hand and went into the ocean. Zeus crushed the heart, splattering blood everywhere. Then Zeus said the words that banished SKIA to the dark world. "Son of God and son of man, learns his lessons not. Tried to teach him we did, but he would not be taught. Turned to straw and turned to pulp, yet still he would not learn. So we shall banish him to the Shadow Realm, but from his ways he shall not turn. So he shall be a slave to us, no more than a piece of dung. Into the Shadow Realm you go, even though I am sorry, my son." With that, a dark black portal opened in front of them, originating from the crushed heart. Zeus threw his own son into it, to be lost forever. SKIA means shadow in Greek, so therefore he is the shadows. His beauty is replaced with darkness, his voice with nothingness. Never again will he be able to speak and commit hubris. Never again will he see the light, for he is always chained to the other side of it by Hephaestus' unbreakable chains. As the farmer finished with the story, the small child realized that the shade he was sitting in was this strange man called SKIA. But instead of freaking out like the farmer expected, the small child turned towards the ground in the shade and said, "I'm sorry, SKIA. I really am. Would it be possible for you to get help for us?" The farmer didn't stop the boy, but he knew his efforts were futile. They had been out there all day and they hadn't seen a soul. The farmer was pretty sure that they were going to die, for they had no water left. Keep losing my spot. But about a half hour later, he looked down the road and saw a lone rider on a horse. He pulled up next to them, out of breath, and hopped down. "I heard a voice," the stranger said. "It told me to bring help for the farmer and his boy under the overturned cart. Do you have any idea what that means?" "I don't really, but I understood the part about help, so I came here, and here I am. Climb up on the horse, and I shall take you back to my house to get you some food and drink." The farmer and the child looked at each other, knowing what just happened would stay between them, for if Zeus found out that SKIA had talked, it would cause a whole lot of trouble for him. The child turned towards the shadows again and said, "Thank you, SKIA. You really aren't as bad a guy as they said you were." That was a assignment from last year, Mrs. Valponi's English class. So, yeah, guys, you know what? I'm going to bed. Have a darn good night, and I will see you next week.